Monday Night Raw starts off with Rhea Ripley, Io Sky. Rhea Ripley was cutting a promo mentioning War Games, mentioning, them winning the War Games match. Then they end up mentioning the Kabuki Warriors, how the Kabuki Warriors betrayed Io, and that she still wants revenge, so they're going to go after the women's tag team titles. Then you get Charlotte and Alexa Bliss. They come out and basically ends up telling Rhea and Io that they need to wait their turn because they need to go after their tag team titles because they got cheated, and they need to get the rematch that they never got. Rhea, of course, refused. This caused an altercation where Charlotte and Alexa Bliss ends up wanting a match to determine who will be the number one contender, and Rhea and Io Sky agreed. This ended up leading into the main event. This was a fine segment. I will say this: when this segment first happened, I did not like it at first, but then eventually I end up liking the idea of it only due to what ended up happening in the main event. The only issue I would say I have is Charlotte and Alexa Bliss is still in the tag team division. That's the only issue I really have with this entire thing. I'm hoping that this thing ends very quickly and this doesn't last long because, look, as great as that main event segment was with all the tag teams, Charlotte and Alexa Bliss do not need to be in this anymore. Like we need SmackDown is suffering because of it. Well, they're not. It's not completely the reason why they're suffering, but what is Jay Cargo going to do? Seriously, what is Jay Cargo going to do? What, keep beefing with BFAB and Meechin? Like, come on. And Chelsea, like, what is Chelsea Green going to do? Like, that women's division needs Charlotte and Alexa Bliss. Like, so I'm hoping this is just a quick filler that doesn't last long, and then eventually we move on because Charlotte and Alexa Bliss desperately need to be in the singles. It need to be singles competitors. Like, look, the tag team stuff was cool. It was a cool little pairing, but we need to move on. The main event segment was great, but we need to move on. Like, we desperately need to move on from Charlotte and Alexa Bliss. Have someone else carry that. Have someone else carry the women's tag team division. But this was a fine segment for what it was. It was really the main event between Io Sky and the Charlotte Flair that led into a disqualification due to the Kabuki Warriors. They interfere. Then you get Bailey and Lyra. They try to make the save, but then eventually the Judgment Day come out and they end up standing tall, which I did like. Now I am a bit biased towards this main event, mainly because it was cool seeing Roxanne Perez hold that championship standing tall. It was very cool seeing that. And you got the return of Liv Morgan. She's finally back, and the show desperately needs Liv Morgan because it does need a bit more. I wouldn't say it needs more star power, but it did felt. I wouldn't say it felt like a big deal because we didn't get no CM Punk on the show, so it did miss a little bit of star power that it typically has without a CM Punk. So it was nice seeing her. But overall, I did like what they did. I did like this is the most important that the tag team titles has ever felt. Now they have to use all these single stars to make it work, but still, this is the most important I ever felt, and I like what they did here. I'm just hoping that Charlotte and Alexa Bliss are eventually out of the tag team division and they're not in this whole thing for long, but I fear that they're going to drag this out for a while. So, but we'll see how this plays out. Afterwards, we end up getting Jey Uso, LA Knight semifinal match. John Cena's last time is now tournament. This was a fine match. LA Knight did pick up the victory. He ends up getting a roll-up pin on Jey Uso. After the match, Jey Uso ends up crashing out, and then he ends up having a quick little segment with Jackie Redmond. I'm not gonna really go over this because I don't know what to take from this because they've been building this little storyline with Jay potentially turning heel, doing this whole little Roman thing, but then they took a break from the whole little Roman thing. So I don't know what they're gonna do. I'm not gonna really get that invested into it. It's probably gonna lead to something, but also it could probably lead to nothing because Triple H has very weird booking because he has this thing where he could land something great that's been building for a long time, or he could continue to build something and never pay it off. He has this weird like thing where on one hand, he builds something up for a while and it pays off, but then on the other hand, he does the same thing and it never pays off. He does this consistently where he does something for way too long and then he just drops it like he done with the Bailey storyline. He was building that up and all of a sudden Bailey, we don't know what's going on with that. And he's kind of doing the same thing with Jey Uso where he was building it, then he stopped it, and now he's trying to build it back up again. Don't know where we're gonna go here. I don't really care if he turns heel, honestly. I know a lot of fans want him to turn heel because they're mad. They're just mad of the whole yeet gimmick. I don't personally mind it. The only thing I mind is really when he does the yeet stuff in matches. I don't care for his entrance. It's mainly in matches I care about, really. But overall, we'll see how this plays out. But they have been teasing this whole little Roman thing for a while now, so I'm just kind of at the point where it's like, if they don't really make some serious progress within like the next month, just stop teasing it at that point. Because like, what's the point? We'll get a quick Judgment Day promo segment. I'm not gonna really go over it. It was just them celebrating Dominic getting his Intercontinental Championship back, and then Liv Morgan basically saying that the Judgment Day are coming for all the gold. Now, I'm not gonna really go over the promo. I'm really just want to speak about Liv Morgan because there was a segment where she ended up confronting Stephanie Vaquer, which I actually did like. This also bringing up the mentioning the fact that they're gonna get the gold. Is it possible that they may end up having all of them have all the gold again? Because part of me feels like they wouldn't have Stephanie Vaquer lose to someone like Liv Morgan, but at the same time, it really wouldn't shock me if she lost to Liv Morgan due to the Judgment Day. And I could easily see them having Rhea Ripley, Io Sky eventually in the main event scene. And if they really want to have them back in the main event scene feuding, Liv Morgan could easily be the perfect like third wheel to a degree, that perfect heel that can like make that actually interesting. Because like having Stephanie, Rhea, and Io all fight for the same championship, I'm not gonna say it would be boring, but it's no real story because they don't have no actual feud. But adding Liv Morgan in that can make it a lot more interesting. So I'm actually interested in it. And plus, as much as I do like Stephanie Vaquer, she is a very flawed character. She has very similar issues that Io Sky had, but the only difference is they actually gave Io some story. But to be fair, majority of Io Sky's storyline is without the title. But in order for a character like Stephanie Vaquer to work as champion, you have to give her like a heel, like a Liv Morgan. A heel like Liv Morgan fits perfectly for someone like a Stephanie Vaquer, who could carry the storyline, who could be that annoying ass heel that you want to root against. But to be fair, most people like Liv Morgan, even myself. So, but this should be interesting. Should be way more interested in Nikki Bella stuff. And plus, they should put more effort into it because WWE does have a tendency of putting more effort into wrestlers that they clearly like. So, and they clearly like Liv Morgan. So they're going to at least put a lot more effort into it. So we'll see how this plays out. And plus, you got the Judgment Day going after the women's tag team titles. And it was a nice moment where Liv Morgan, where Roxanne Perez was giving the women's tag titles to Liv Morgan. But then Liv Morgan gave it back. So I did like that moment as well. So potentially we could see if the Judgment Day have all the gold again. So we'll see how that plays out. Now we're going to get to the best thing, in my opinion, of the entire show. Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker cut an amazing promo. Cut an amazing promo, in my opinion. He basically was talking about CM Punk, basically mentioning that he's coming for the throne. He's coming for that World Heavyweight Championship. He ends up calling CM Punk a bitch and ends up saying that his wife is more popular than he is. I love this promo. This promo was great. I haven't really looked at any online feedback of this promo, but if anyone or anybody is saying that he improved on the microphone, you're just a moron. He always had this ability. He just hasn't been able to showcase this. But this is great, bro. Like, I like this. Now, apparently, I think their match is like in January, because I think he mentioned like January 1st, like multiple times. So if that, or January 5th. If they whenever they have that match, Braun Breaker needs to win. I don't give a fuck how he wins. I don't give a fuck if it takes the entire vision. I don't care. He needs to win. I said that CM Punk shouldn't have been champion in the first place because it just never made sense due to the whole Braun Breaker turning on Seth Rollins. I don't know why we had to have CM Punk become champion just for that. This isn't a Liv Morgan situation where it was a battle royal to determine it. No, that's not the same thing. You should just have Braun Breaker became world champion anyway if this was always the play. Now, we don't know if he's going to win, but I swear, if he actually wins when they have that match in January, CM Punk winning at Saturday Night's main event was a dumbass decision. Because what was the point? What was the point? Because CM Punk still hasn't defended his title, so that would be his first title defense. Like, what? You should just have Braun Breaker win at that point. Like, it would be different if this was like a Liv Morgan Becky Lynch situation where Liv Morgan was supposed to win the Battle Royal, but due to it being a Battle Royal, it would deflate and diminish her victory because she didn't beat no one for that title, but instead of beating Becky Lynch. You get what I'm saying? It would be different because it's not the same thing because Braun Breaker would actually beat CM Punk still. So it's like, I don't know. We'll see how that match plays out, but I swear if Braun Breaker actually wins that match, become world champion, CM Punk winning at Saturday's main event was just retarded. As for the last semifinal match, we get Gunther versus I was finna say LA Knight, but we get Gunther versus Solo Sikoa. This was actually a solid match. This match was better than I expected, but it's Gunther. Gunther picked up the victory as I expected. So now we get Gunther versus LA Knight, and I think it's very obvious that Gunther is winning. Like I said, I would have chose someone else, but given the participants, I'm not mad at it. Now, I do kind of feel like Sheamus was supposed to be in this spot. I think it would have made more logical sense for Sheamus to be in this spot, in my opinion, especially due to the history, because LA Knight has history with Cena, but his history isn't that deep, and it's not really that important. LA Knight's history with Cena is something that's not going to be remembered like that, if we're being honest. So, but nonetheless, I'm not mad at it. Gunther is still a good option. I just don't think he's a great one, but he's a good option. All I'm hoping for with Gunther is that they have this thing with Gunther where they're 1 foot in, 1 foot out, where they want to build him up strong, but he's always second or third place. What I mean by that is he always feels like he's second or third place to someone else. He feels second place to CM Punk, feels second place to Seth Rollins, feels second place to Cody Rhodes. Like, if you want Gunther to be taken more seriously, especially after retiring John Cena, have him feel just as important. The only way to do that is have him actually win matches against those guys, because every time he faces one of those guys, I know he's losing because WWE cares more about those guys than him. He lost to Punk, he lost to Cody. Now, he hasn't had Seth Rollins, but I guarantee you, if they have that match and Seth Rollins is a babyface, he's losing. So it's like, that's my only thing. If you're going to give him this, actually treat him like a fucking threat and have him actually beat the top guys. That's my only thing. But nonetheless, overall show was fine. It wasn't a good show. Wasn't bad. It was a alright show. It's really the main event that really carried this in the Braun Breaker promo. But nonetheless, it was an okay show. But you guys let me know your overall thoughts and opinions down below. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. But yeah, that's it.